23-year-old Prince Nyerovho has been arrested in Sapele, Delta State for allegedly stabbing his 65-year-old father to death after consuming a synthetic drug known as Colorado. The incident, which occurred on Sunday in the Amukpe area, has left the community in shock. Family sources revealed that Prince struggled with addiction to synthetic cannabinoids, also known as spice, which led to repeated violent episodes. In the past, he reportedly tried to strangle his mother during one of such episodes. According to a family source, this isn't the first time Prince has exhibited violence under the influence of drugs. His addiction had spiraled out of control, making him unpredictable. His mother did her best to help, but the financial burden was too much to bear. Efforts to rehabilitate him were unsuccessful due to financial constraints. His mother sought help from facilities in Benin City and Sapele, but eventually ran out of resources. On the fateful day after consuming Colorado, Prince demanded 5,000 naira from his father. When the request was denied, he became enraged. His father locked himself in his room to avoid confrontation, but Prince broke down the door. In the ensuing chaos, his younger sister attempted to intervene but sustained injuries. Neighbors, alerted by the commotion, arrived to find Prince's father fatally stabbed. Prince was subdued by the community and handed over to the police. His father's body was transported to the mortuary for an autopsy while authorities continue their investigation. We've hammered a lot on, on drugs. I think on one of our discussions, we did talk about how does drugs even come in, given that we have the NDLEA. But well, let's start from the top. What are your thoughts on the story?
Well, based on the storyline and what we just read, I see the issue of drugs has done so much to our younger generations, seriously. And to me, if you asked what are the benefits of these drugs, it has nothing, just to give them highness and all the rest. And so the majority of our young people see it as fun. They engage themselves, unknowing to them, there's a repercussion to it. It's a repercussion to it. Imagine when you look at the storyline that the mother have tried everything, trying to introduce him to a kind of a facility, rehabilitation facility, where they can at least see how they can tame the situation, help him out. But at the end of the day, she was financially bankrupt because of a child.
All right.
Possibly this child, the family, the father, the mother has been doing everything possible for him to become a good child, for him to raise him, to become, for him to be responsible. But the society we find ourselves, where the reverse is the case, every young people wants to look at his age, 26 or 23, something thereabouts. Engaging himself in all this because of the environment he finds himself.
Right. Now, when you say the family and the parents have done everything, I quite, the story did mention the...
He said the mother...
The mother has, invested a lot of money, tried her best towards his rehabilitation, to no avail. Now, what does it bring to your thoughts? Children, when a child is born, a child comes into this world as a clean slate. Right, and everything the child sees is like a pencil being written on a plain A4 paper. Right. Now, the job of the job of a parent is to admonish, to love, to train, to advise, to intercede, as it were. Giving through prayers, through admonitions, through love, through right guidance. Now, do you think with this story you can exempt the parents from being costant to the drive till this boy arrived at this point?
Not completely.
Okay.
Because before it gets to this point, there are some activities, some moves that child has been. Because that child is still young.
He's still young.
He's still young.
Yes.
There are some activities, there are some peer friends, some persons he has been attaching, and the family have been taking note, but they didn't confront it on time. And secondly, before somebody get addicted into something, that thing has been repeatedly, that person must have been engaging either secretly or openly.
Right.
And so the excess, this money demanding money from the father, it didn't just start today. He has been, if you find out, if you follow the story, this same child has been making demand. Because from the story of the mother, before the mother started looking for a way out to see how he can help the child to come back to normality, it means that child has been draining them over the years. And from the neighborhood, the story, what their own testimony concerning this, is that Prince has been acting this way. Simply means that this is not just the first time.
Right, because the story mentioned him almost trying to strangle his mother.
Yeah, so the child just grow beyond their control. But they saw it early stage. Some parents have come in contact with some families that all they know is your food is there, go and eat your food. They don't bother how the child will be and they don't even bother to know his activities. So I've seen family like that. So maybe the family of Prince can sometimes, it may likely be one of them. But to me, my advice to every family is that parents that are raising children, raising future generation, is that they have the responsibility to observe their children very closely and understand, because as a mother, as an older person, you can sit down here and observe an activities of a younger person and know without asking questions. So there are signs everywhere. The kind of friends he keep, the late night, sometimes, because before he gets to drugs, he must have been smoking cigarette. From cigarette, he migrate to other things, just like that. This is a level by level. A child who have not tested cigarette will not just jump in and become drug addict. So this thing has become, imagine he's either 26 or 23 years, here they put it there. Imagine how long he has been in this thing.
Now, when we talk about the length, given that it's most likely out of secondary school, maybe at 16 or so, 17, 18. Now, when you look at the structure of this report, right, what comes to your mind as regards nurturing children in schools and sensitization programs? I remember when I got into the university, I first of all went to write an aptitude test at the University of Lagos. And when I got there to that aptitude test, there used to be a big old banner of, stay away from drugs and all of that. I think there were so many around even in the city of Port Harcourt at that point in time. When you get into most of these schools, you see the admonition, drug kills, drug can ruin your life and all of that. Now, do you think that I currently do not see all of that the way I used to see it when I was growing up, right? And the event of drug abuse right now is higher than few years ago when I was growing up. Why do you think, when I say why do you think, I'm talking about every other person that is supposed to be involved in this sensitization. I'm talking about non-profits. I'm talking about, the government. I'm talking about NDLEA. I'm talking about ministries. I'm talking about religious bodies that are supposed to be driving the discourse of why young people, because trainings for me that start from the grassroots, like when a baby is born, like I earlier said, they are basically clay. We're trying to mold. And while we are molding, why do you think the information, the sensitization that used to go out pyro, why do you think it has stopped? And do you think that has yielded more people in that direction, given that many of the ministries and non-profits I previously mentioned have been negligent in offering this sensitization?
Yeah, like you said, many of the ministries have been negligent in terms of offering these professions or this sensitization. You see, just like when a child started nursery school, if the parents, as a mother, your child is starting maybe daycare, and the work of the teacher is when the teacher is teaching those children, is teaching them as generalized children. So the assignment is left for the parents. Once the child comes back, you guide the child to take stroke, just like that.
All right.
So that the child can, but if the parents refuse to help that child at that point, to guide that child to be doing their own work, to be doing the assignment given to, and giving that child reason why you need to do the assignment. If you don't do it, you will fail your exam. Your auntie will flog you. That child will just think, like, look at some children, some family, once the children come, but they just throw their back and start running outside with that. But I know sometimes the parents end up not even doing the assignment, helping them doing the assignment. At the end of the some of them see them rushing at the early hour of the morning to help junior or to do assignment that they were supposed to do it as soon as they were supposed to guide them to help them. So when you don't train, when the school is giving their best, and the parents is not also helping the children to remind them that there's an assignment you are supposed to work on, it will not become part of them.
Okay. So
no matter the ministry that is carrying out the sensitization, because I remember then when I was working with an NGO, Youth Rescue International Development, we were actually deliberating hitting on drugs, because each drugs comes cultism and drugs. They are working in pari passu. Every child that is in the street, once you are introduced to gangs, the first thing that you'll be guided is to how to make yourself look like extraordinary human being, and that alone can happen in the course of taking all these hard substance, making you changing. The hard substance has a way of influencing one's mind, making you feel that you are on top. And how did it happen? It didn't just happen in a. It didn't happen in a group of moral group. No, it happens in a group where in a gangs. It's group of people coming together trying to be the king, trying to be the superman, the youth in the street. It started by social groups, and before you know all this, the drug is part of their. Take this thing first so that you understand yourself.
Exactly.
So they just started. I remember a young man I was trying to, one of Isaac like that, when I was with the NGO, we were working on the drug and the restiveness. Okay. That was our main focus. I did that for 5 good years, going to the prison, talking to youth against violence. So also telling them the danger in cultism and danger in drugs, all those things. So we're going to the end, listen to always sensitize people there. So one of the major things we normally tell them is that when you engage yourself in this, you are truncating your future. You are trying to destroy your future. Because nobody is engaged in the use of drugs that thinks normal. Don't think normal. Because you are taking it in excess. Drugs, this is why you see the drug, no matter how they do it, because it's part of what all this makes, all this, they are using for manufacture so many things. Yeah. But people take advantage of it and abuse it, like the marijuana, all these things. I grew up in a family where these things were doing, where they were doing it as normal business. But because I tell myself, no matter how, I would not be engaged in this. And I didn't engage myself into it. So one thing I discovered that life is a choice. And the parents also have a bigger role to play in the sense of when they get this sensitization, when these people, the drug enforcement agents are advertising this thing, telling you to abstain from it. It is a duty of the parents to draw the attention of their children. Say, look at this thing they are saying, and expatiate it to them by telling them this is the outcome of it if you engage yourself in it, and this is how your life is going to be. And so when they don't do this thing, the children goes out there and meet wrong people who don't give them, they will tell them the good part of this stuff unknown to them. A young man that the father trained and wanted to send him to Ghana, it was under my custody when I was with the Youth Rescue International. Suddenly, the father did everything possible. They wanted to send him to Ghana. He wanted to go to Ghana and study. They did everything to make sure that these younger ones were taking advantage of the trend and they're going to school. And suddenly, wasn't there? He just pretend to be a nice guy. And his father is from the deeper life background. They're very moral. They teach them.
But he lost it somehow.
He lost it because he refused to take the right path.
Now that could be the case for certain people, because I wanted to ask you that in case children deviate. Now you just rightly mentioned a similar case. I want to ask you, right? The mother of in this report did lament that even though she was trying to get the boy, some form of healing, right, and take him for rehabilitation, she could no longer afford it.
You know what happened in that case? You see, in every family...
I want to get your thoughts as regards, you know, the subsidizing of the payment. What are your thoughts as regards if, you know, the hospitals that are in charge of managing drug-addicted people,
yes.
right? What are your thoughts as regards the subsidizing of fees for people that intend to heal?
You know, yeah, what you're saying is, you know, the system in a developed country, this set of people have a place where the government takes care of them, making them, trying to sensitize them, engaging them in positive stuff, like training and what have you, to enable them, takes away their mind, and then abstaining them from having access to this for a period of time.
All right.
But in the system where we are, even though the government is doing everything to make sure that at least trying its best, because like we are in a system whereby even when government is putting so much, you cannot see the so much reflecting. Because why? There is no monitoring, there is no check, there is nobody to checkmate those things.
All right.
So they just heard in the story that the government has put so much, they call the figure, and when you hear the figure, you so amazed. But the outcome, the dividends of that figure is not reflecting the society. That because everybody that held public offices are not, in fact, nobody is like, they are not accountable to an extent.
Very well.
So that is just the challenge we are having.
Thank
not
you.
That the government is a challenge.
Thank you so much.